All right, so get ready, because today we're going deep on Taipei 101.
Gee.
But not just like the touristy stuff.
Yeah.
We're going for like the stuff that makes this skyscraper a cultural icon.
It really is. And, we've got some really interesting source material today.
Oh, yeah.
Excerpts from an academic paper called The Architecture of Taipei 101.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's not just about like, how many floors it has or how tall it is.
Exactly.
We're talking about like uncovering the symbolism baked into the design, the clever engineering, and really like understanding why this building means so much to the people of Taiwan.
And I think what's so interesting is that even just the building's like basic form is a statement.
Oh, really?
The paper points out that the shape is like echoing a bamboo stalk.
Okay.
And anybody who knows a bit about China knows that's not random.
So, okay, strength, flexibility.
Mm.
I get that it's important in Chinese culture,
Mm-hmm.
but what's the deeper connection to Taipei 101?
We have to think about Taiwan's history, right? It's a story of resilience, of bending but not breaking under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So the bamboo stalk isn't just pretty.
Yeah.
It's a visual metaphor for like the spirit of the Taiwanese people.
Oh, that's cool. Now, I also remember reading that the number 8 is considered lucky in Chinese culture.
Yes.
Is that tied into Taipei 101 as well?
You are sharp.
Uh-uh.
The building has 8 distinct exterior sections.
Okay.
And this isn't just like a random design quirk.
Right.
The number 8 symbolizes prosperity and wealth, which is really relevant considering Taipei 101 is a major financial hub.
So they're literally building prosperity into the architecture.
It's all about symbolism.
That's amazing. I never would have considered that level of intentionality.
And speaking of symbols,
Yeah.
have you noticed how the tiered structure of Taipei 101 kind of resembles a pagoda?
You mean those beautiful towers you see all over East Asia?
Exactly.
Yeah, I can kind of see it, but those are religious structures, right?
Exactly.
Hmm.
Pagodas, particularly in Buddhist tradition, represent centers of enlightenment and spiritual growth.
Okay. And there's actually a section of the paper that references John Lagerwey's book, Modern Chinese Religion, which dives deep into this symbolism.
So are they suggesting that Taipei 101 is like a modern-day pagoda?
Yeah.
A center for a different kind of enlightenment, like economic enlightenment, maybe?
I mean, it's not that literal,
Okay.
but the architectural nod to pagodas definitely adds a layer of cultural depth.
I see.
It acknowledges the spiritual alongside the material success that Taipei 101 represents.
Okay, now this is making me see skyscrapers in a whole new light. But let's get down to earth for a second, literally.
Okay.
Taiwan's in an earthquake zone. How does a building this massive not just crumble at the slightest tremor?
This is where the engineering gets really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so picture this.
Okay.
Suspended between the 87th and 92nd floor, there's a gigantic golden sphere hanging inside the building.
Hold on, a giant golden ball. What is this, a Bond villain's lair?
Not quite.
Okay.
It's called a tuned mass damper.
And it's basically a giant pendulum designed to counteract vibrations from strong winds and, yes, earthquakes.
Oh, wow. So it's like a high-tech counterweight, keeping the building stable.
Exactly. It's a
Yeah.
brilliant example of form following function.
That's so cool.
It's not just essential for safety, it's actually become a visual icon of Taipei 101.
Oh, wow.
Tourists actually go up there just to see this massive golden ball swaying gently.
Okay, that is seriously cool.
Yeah,
It's like a work of art that also saves the building from collapsing.
exactly.
What else did you find interesting in this paper?
Well, the author actually spent a whole day at Taipei 101.
Oh,
They hit the shops, they grabbed food, they even worked out at the gym.
really?
They called the building a microcosm of modern life.
That's interesting. It's like they're saying Taipei 101 isn't just a building.
Right.
It's an experience, a whole self-contained world.
And this ties into the concept of postmodern architecture,
Right.
which is all about integrating different aspects of life into a single space. It's not just about offices and shops. It's about creating a vibrant community hub.
So they're basically saying,
Hold on, let me stop you right there.
oh,
Remember, we want to avoid those overly simplistic phrases like, so they're basically saying.
okay.
It can sound a bit patronizing to our listener.
You are so right. I need to, elevate my language game here.
Yes.
How about this? It seems the author is suggesting that Taipei 101 transcends the traditional definition of a skyscraper.
Okay.
It's more a vertical city.
That's a much better way to phrase it.
Okay.
And you know what's truly remarkable is how the author captures the essence of Taipei 101 through their personal experience.
That's what makes this deep dive so fascinating. right?
Yeah.
It's not just about dry facts and figures.
Okay.
It's about uncovering the human stories behind these structures.
Absolutely. And there's so much more to uncover about Taipei 101 and the stories it holds.
I'm ready.
Let's delve deeper into that in part 2 of our deep dive. Welcome back to our deep dive into Taipei 101.
You know, I'm still thinking about that tuned mass damper.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about blending function and art. But the paper also mentions how Taipei 101 isn't something you can just see in an afternoon.
Right.
You have to experience it.
Yeah, the author describes like getting lost in this massive English bookstore. They hit the gym and then like having dinner at one of the many restaurants.
Okay.
And it's not just any food court.
Yeah.
We're talking Michelin-starred places serving authentic Taiwanese cuisine on the 86th floor.
Wait, Michelin-star restaurants inside the building.
I know.
This is sounding less like a skyscraper and more like a self-contained city.
That's exactly the point the author's making.
Oh, wow.
The architects didn't just design a building,
Right.
They designed an ecosystem, a place where people could workshop, eat, and even exercise without ever leaving.
It's almost like a vertical slice of modern life, isn't it?
Totally.
You've got all these different activities happening at different levels, yet it's all contained within this single structure.
And the paper actually connects this back to the concept of postmodern architecture,
Okay.
which often aims to create spaces that blend diverse aspects of life.
Right.
It's about breaking down the traditional barriers between work, leisure, and culture.
So in a way, Taipei 101 is kind of like a rejection of the idea that a skyscraper should just be a sterile office block.
Yeah.
It's something much more dynamic and engaging.
Precisely. It's about creating a vibrant community hub that caters to the needs and desires of a modern, multifaceted society.
Right. And what's really interesting is how the author contrasts the building's ever-changing interior with its unchanging exterior.
Yes.
They write that while the shops and restaurants may come and go, the exterior remains constant, solid, clear, and observable from afar.
That's a great observation.
It's almost like the building has this duality to it.
Yeah.
A dynamic, ever-evolving core wrapped in a shell of permanence and stability.
I think that's a great way to put it. It's like the exterior represents the enduring spirit of Taiwan, while the interior reflects the vibrancy and constant change of modern life.
Yeah, and even within the interior, there's this sense of movement and flow, isn't there?
Right.
The author talks about how the design avoids blandness by incorporating a variety of shapes and forms.
That's right. Remember we talked about postmodern architecture earlier?
Yeah.
Well, this playful use of shapes and forms is a hallmark of that style.
Huh.
It's about creating spaces that are visually stimulating and encourage exploration.
It's almost like they're trying to create a sense of discovery within the building itself. You're not just walking down a straight corridor.
Right.
You're constantly encountering new perspectives and unexpected details.
Exactly. It's about making the journey as interesting as the destination.
You know, with all this talk about modern design and urban living, I almost forgot about the deeper cultural significance we talked about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
The bamboo symbolism, the lucky number 8, right? Those elements aren't just superficial decorations, are they?
Absolutely not. They're deeply embedded in Taiwanese culture and history. They represent the values and beliefs that have shaped this nation, and they're woven into the very fabric of the building.
It's like they're saying, we're a modern, technologically advanced society, but we haven't forgotten where we came from.
That's a great way to put it. Taipei 101 is a beautiful blend of tradition and innovation.
Yeah.
It acknowledges the past while embracing the future.
And it does so in a way that's both visually stunning and culturally meaningful.
It does.
Speaking of visually stunning, those nighttime photos of Taipei 101 are absolutely breathtaking.
They are.
It's like a beacon illuminating the entire city.
It really is. And it's not just about aesthetics.
Oh, yeah.
Remember those massive LED screens we talked about?
Yeah.
They're used to display messages, artwork, and even public service announcements.
So it's like this giant digital canvas that the city can use to communicate and express itself.
Exactly. It's a powerful tool for connecting with the community and fostering a sense of shared identity.
It's amazing how they've managed to turn a skyscraper into a platform for cultural expression and civic engagement.
Right.
It's more than just a landmark. It's an integral part of the city's fabric.
And you can really feel that connection in the concluding lines of the paper.
Oh, yeah.
The author talks about how Taipei 101 embodies the pride and ego of Taiwan, how it stands as a postmodernist architectural marvel.
You can almost hear the emotion in their voice, can't you?
Totally.
It's clear that this building holds a very special place in the hearts of the Taiwanese people.
It's more than just a building. It's a symbol of their journey, their resilience, and their aspirations.
It's a reminder that architecture can be so much more than just bricks and mortar.
Absolutely.
It can tell stories, evoke emotions, and connect us to something larger than ourselves.
And what a story Taipei 101 tells.
I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of what makes this building so fascinating.
We have covered a lot of ground, but there's still one more piece of the puzzle to explore.
Oh, really?
In the final part of our deep dive, we'll take a look at how Taipei 101 has become a vehicle for Taiwan's cultural expression on the global stage.
Okay, so we're back and ready for like the final part of our deep dive into Taipei 101.
You got it.
We talked about the symbolism, the engineering,
Right.
what it's like to actually be inside.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's time to kind of zoom out
Yeah.
and like look at Taipei 101's impact on the global stage.
Okay.
And I remember that phrase from the paper, vehicle of Taiwan's cultural expression.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what do you think the author meant by that?
I think it's all about how Taipei 101 embodies the spirit of Taiwan
Okay.
and shares it with the world.
Okay.
Like, think about the bamboo stalk symbolism, the choice to reference pagodas.
Right.
Those are distinctly Taiwanese elements.
Yeah.
But they also speak to a global audience.
But they're saying, this is who we are, this is what we stand for.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just architecture.
Yep.
Taipei 101 has become a symbol of Taiwan's economic success, technological prowess,
Wow.
and even its democratic values.
It's interesting how, like, a building can become a stand-in for an entire nation, right?
Right.
It's almost like a visual ambassador.
It is. And it's not just about what Taipei 101 represents to the Taiwanese people.
Right.
It's also about how it's perceived internationally.
So how is it perceived? What kind of impact has it had on a global scale?
Well, for one thing, it's put Taiwan on the map for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, before Taipei 101,
Yeah.
many people probably couldn't even point to Taiwan on a map.
That's simply true.
And now
Yeah.
it's got this instantly recognizable landmark
Mm-hmm.
that's become synonymous with the country.
Right. And it's not just about tourism.
No.
Taipei 101 has attracted international investment, fostered cultural exchange,
Holy.
and helped to elevate Taiwan's status on the world stage.
Absolutely.
It's amazing to think about how a single building can have such a profound ripple effect. It's not just changing the skyline, it's like changing perceptions
Right.
and shaping global dialogues.
And that's the power of great architecture, isn't it?
Yeah.
It can transcend its physical form and become a symbol of something much larger.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to the layers of meaning embedded in Taipei 101.
Good.
It's more than just a cool-looking skyscraper.
Right.
It's a statement about resilience, ambition, and cultural identity.
I think that's a valuable takeaway for anyone who's ever wondered about the deeper purpose of architecture. It's not just about creating functional spaces.
Right.
It's about crafting experiences, telling stories,
Yeah.
and leaving a lasting mark on the world.
So what's the lasting mark Taipei 101 will leave? Like, what will people say about it 100 years from now?
I think it will be remembered as a symbol of Taiwan's coming-of-age story, a testament to its transformation from an isolated island nation to a global powerhouse.
And it's a reminder that even in a world dominated by technology and globalization, it's still possible to create structures that embody the unique spirit of a place and its people.
It's a powerful legacy for a single building to carry.
Well, on that note, we've reached the summit of our deep dive into Taipei 101.
We have.
I hope you've enjoyed the journey as much as we have.
I did.
And remember, the next time you encounter a striking building,
Yeah.
don't just admire its facade.
Okay.
Ask yourself, what stories does it hold? What deeper meanings might be hidden in plain sight?
Great question.
Because as we've learned from Taipei 101, sometimes the most profound stories are told not in words, but in steel glass and a whole lot of concrete.
That's a good one.
Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring.